Previously on the recap sequence.
Hey folks, welcome to the recap sequence. We're back after our summer slash partial fall break, I guess. We've been on our hiatus, but we're super happy to be back, and we've got a great guest lined up today. Brad Seymour is joining us from Summerside, PEI. Brad, how are you?
I'm doing great, guys. How you doing?
Doing fantastic.
Doing very well. Thank you for doing this,
Awesome.
Brad. I know we had the chance to finally meet you because I hold up here in my hands Dark Coast issue #1, and
Yep.
Brad was the last person I needed to track down to get to autograph this, because I have everybody else's autograph in here, and there we go, like that. And sure
Ooh.
enough, Brad, you were the last person, and when I
All
found
right.
you were coming, I was very excited. I was like, I've never actually completed something like this before. So, yeah, what can I say, right?
There we go.
His
We got the
passport is complete.
Yeah.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, no, it was great chatting with you at ECCE and stuff. Do you how'd you get into all of this?
So I've always been a fan of like comic books and everything in general, and I guess it really started, I guess in my early teens. So back in the '90s when magazines were around, there was a magazine called Wizard, the
Oh yeah, I
Guide to
remember.
Comics.
Yeah.
So yeah, just there a couple people in class had it, so I started picking up one, and that's kind of where it just kind of snowballed. Because up until that point, I was going to be an RCMP officer, and my
Oh.
parents were really happy about that. And then I was like, I'm going to be a comic book artist instead.
It's a
And they
pivot.
were like, oh, okay. But yeah, that's just where it started. I've always been drawing since I was 4 years old, so my parents tell me. So,
Do you
and then yeah, it just kind of kept going from there.
Now, do you have are there any artists out there that you've grown up when reading comics that you like to try and mimic your style after, or who were influences on your style?
Oh yes. I think if you look at my style and then after I say the names, you'll be able to see some of the stuff that I pull from them. So two big ones for me are Joe Madureira.
Okay.
So he was a big artist for X-Men in the mid '90s, and then also Umberto Ramos as well
Oh yeah.
too. So Umberto's currently working for Marvel, doing Fantastic Four, and Joe, he's moved on to the video game industry and stuff, so he doesn't do too much comic work anymore. But I know Marvel's re-releasing the Age of Apocalypse miniseries that he was a big artist on, so I know he's been doing a couple of things for that. But those are two big people that I think if you look at my art, you can be like, oh yeah, I can see pieces of that
Mhm.
there. And then also Jim Lee as well too.
Yes, absolutely. Have you had a chance to ever meet Umberto or
Not Umberto or Joe. I have gotten a chance to meet Jim Lee.
oh wow.
My prized possession. I made it to San Diego Comic Con one year, and I have an absolute edition of Hush with his signature inside of it.
Oh.
So that's my comic book holy grail that I have.
Wow, that's
So
a good one.
yeah,
Wow.
so did you
Yeah.
San Diego as a guest or as just a fan?
Oh no, just as a fan. This was yeah, like 2008, like
Oh,
many years ago.
yeah.
So, and yeah, and it was just quick meeting Jim Lee too. It was like we were kind of told in line like he's not drawing anything, he's not taking any pictures, he's signing one thing and then moving on because they only had him for like half an hour, I guess.
Oh wow.
So it was just like, hey, nice to meet you. You're like an inspiration. Shook his hand, and I was on my way out, and the person behind me, was on their way in. So,
I-
but it was still cool. Like it was for you to meet one of your comic book heroes, right? Like it
Absolutely.
was,
Yeah, definitely.
And to leave with what you left with, that's pretty amazing too.
yeah.
Had you been were you like a frequent con visitor? Like, do you is that something that you take in on a fairly regular basis and historically have?
It's starting to become more now, especially with me like working with Sandstone Comics, working with Sandy on other things as well. The local convention scene, I've started to get into it more. But before that, I think I was at the first East Coast Comic Con
Okay.
and
Oh
then
wow.
the San Diego Comic Con. Those were my only ones before that. So
Big difference in big difference.
Massive difference. Yeah.
Completely different, different beasts. But what did you think of East Coast Comic Con when you first went? Comic Expo, sorry.
It was great. Like the it was small, so it wasn't like overwhelming, right? Because like my only impression was San Diego,
Yeah,
and that's
Yeah.
just like you got a couple 100,000 people all in one spot, and it's just a mass of people. So I do enjoy the smaller conventions because you can get around, you can see more, you can talk to people. Like it's not as claustrophobic
yeah,
with the smaller conventions.
yeah,
And there's also that level of intimacy. You can have more of a one-on-one with a writer or an artist at something like East Coast Comic Expo, which is why I always love going to these kind of things. Because my first exposure to the comic cons, if you will, was New York Comic Con back in
Mm,
2010, and then I came here and we went to one in Halifax, and it was like night and day. Going, I just came from this one that had 10,000 people in it
yeah.
on
Oh
one
yeah, 100%.
day alone. So, but something like East Coast Comic Expo, which is just it fits the mold, I think, for all of us. Really, it's such a wonderful event that they put on.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
And how did you end up crossing paths with Sandy Carruthers and getting involved on the Dark Coast books?
Yeah, so I applied to the fundamental arts program at Holland College, where Sandy was a instructor in the graphic design program at that time. So kind of the fundamental arts program was like a startup program, and then you can choose to go to graphic design or video game or photography or journalism. And that's where we met. And then he's been my mentor ever since. So we worked on Holland College. We did a group graphic novel. They did it for the 2 years that I was there in the video game program. So that's where it started, and then we kind of always kept in contact. And if I remember correctly, I think it was him and Robert Doan asked me to come in January of 2020, and they didn't say why or anything like that. So I was just like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool because they had started Sandstone by this point,
Mhm.
and they were putting out books. So I was like, well, I'll take some stuff with me just in case because I don't know what's happening. And then they were like, hey, do you want to do a book for us? And I was like, yep, yeah, I can do that, no problem. Yeah, because I had already been starting to work on something and I was going to turn it into a web comic, so I just kind of flipped it over to a comic book, and that's where it started. And yeah, that's I've
And
been
then
under
how
Sandy's wing ever since.
how did Dark Coast come into this for you? Because you collaborated on uh, book one and book two with Tony White.
Yep.
First one, Hell's Trap, The Devil in the Detail, and then the other one you did was Northeastern, The Dark Things and Stories.
Yeah. So yeah, Sandy was kind of like the mastermind of that project. So he knows a lot of people, right? So he had sent out just feelers to people to be like, hey, I'm going to do a horror anthology. Do you have a story? If you don't have a story, if you're an artist, I can team you up with the writer. And so Tony submitted his story, and just with the time setting and everything, and my aesthetic and like my own book, Glory Bound, how I kind of have that kind of 80s like synthwave style to like my
Mhm.
colors and everything. And Hell Trap was set in the 80s. So Sandy kind of paired us up, and that's how we became that writer artist duo.
Very cool. I want to talk about Glory Bound, but I want to know when you went to ECCE, how did it feel going in on onto the floor and seeing that gigantic representation of James Dixon's cover of Dark Coast?
That was amazing. Like just to go in and see that, and I'm just like, holy, that like, oh yeah, that like that's not something that you're expecting to see, and then it's
Right.
just there on the wall, and it's like, okay, I gotta get my picture taken with that.
Sure.
Like
And you're
just
part, yeah,
ran to it.
yeah, and you're part of this ensemble of local creatives that and it is it is an army of awesome.
Yes,
There was a group photo for Dark Coast One at Freddie Beach Fan
yes,
Fest,
yeah.
and I had to turn their phone sideways. Like it was a huge group of people.
Yeah, it was a big
Um,
picture. Yeah.
yeah, so like, how does that work out? Like, that's a very big team of folks. Now, do you stay? connected, as a result of this book? Obviously, you've got a great network of folks now. Do you collaborate on other things sort of on the side now, or have you found opportunities to do that with some of the
Are
people that
you
are
allowed
involved?
to tell
Or
us?
are you allowed?
Um, oh yeah, there's kind of like nothing in the works, like in secret or anything like that. I think everybody, like, where we have contacts and we're on social media and everything. Me and Tony, we kind of have a pretty good working relationship.
Yeah.
So anytime something comes up for Dark Coast, if he has a story, then he's like, "Hey, you want to do this again?" And I'm always like, "Yeah, sure. Shoot me your script and we'll get it going." Like, we have a really good working relationship.
You guys seem to mesh very well with that. So I'm curious the process with this here. Was it you and Tony going back and forth, or was Sandy involved with this, or was it simply you, Tony? Here's Sandy, here's the final product.
So for Hell Trap, that first one, Sandy played intermediary just for a little bit in the beginning, and then me and Tony started talking more directly and stuff. And Tony's like a really great writer. Like, he'll for the Nor'easter story, he's like, I didn't put too much detail in the script. He's like, I want to leave you some room so you can, like, just kind of, he's like, just do your thing. Like, and like, if I have to, like, look at the script and I was like, hey, can I change this slightly to make it work a little bit better? And it's usually like, yeah, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. And it's very collaborative process, but it's a very easygoing process as well too.
Do you so you I know you want to talk about his other book
Sure.
here in a
Yeah.
second,
Yeah.
and so you've have you dabbled in writing before, or was it easy or harder for you, like, to work with someone you're going in just solely as the artist?
Oh my God, no, it's so much easier just being the artist. Yeah, yeah, it's like 50% of the job I have less to do, right? Like, it's just like, hey, this is the script, this is the story, and then I just take over as like the director, right? Like, I put the camera and the characters on the screen. So I don't have to worry about setting it up. I just kind of gotta shoot it. And yeah, it's much easier just being the artist.
With Glory Bound, was that like a full you effort? Is that your own writing and art?
Yeah,
Yep.
the whole book, writing, art, coloring, lettering. Yeah, that's all me. That is a Olympian, like a feat. Holy jeez.
Tell us a little bit. What's the time frame that you had worked on Glory Bound, and how can we find it?
Yeah, so Glorybound issue one, we published through Sandstone Comics in May or June of 2020. So we launched a Kickstarter for that. It got funded in 24 hours, less than
Oh
24
wow.
hours, and
Nice.
so issue one, and then I think almost less than a year later, we had Glorybound number two come out. The Kickstarter for that, we didn't make it for that one, so it's things at the end of the pandemic and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So, but we managed to get it published through a local publishing house and just kind of paid out of pocket for it. So we got that going, and it's right now it's available at the Comic Hunter in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. That's the only place that we have it right now.
How was your experience with overall? Like, do you like crowdsourced funding as a process? I know it's used a lot in independent
Yeah,
any kind of independent sort of mediums. Folks use it, but I've heard lots of mixed experiences about how were your experiences with sometimes you get your award, sometimes you don't.
yeah.
Is the process similar aside from how the end product works out?
Yeah. So I would say, uh, for me, it was fairly painful, especially book one, because Sandy and Robert kind of took like the lion's share of running the campaign for that one. They just wanted me to focus on making the book, and if they needed specific art for the Kickstarter campaign, um, I drew it. So we made sure not to go too crazy with like pledge tiers and everything. So we didn't we think about like T-shirts and pins and stickers and all that kind of stuff. So, but we cut that out and we just kind of kept it very simple, very straightforward. Um, but the second Kickstarter for book two, I was more hands on with that one, and yeah, it's a process,
Mhm.
especially when you're still working on the book as well too, plus trying to run your Kickstarter campaign as well too. But stuff like that, you just kind of learn from it. So like if I were to do another Kickstarter, I would make sure that the project is mostly done,
Right.
like 95% done before starting the Kickstarter. Because I think I was like only about 60% of the way through the book. So like I'm trying to put the book together and then do things on the Kickstarter as well too. So it can be a process. Yeah. And same here. Like I've heard good stories and I've heard bad stories.
Yeah.
The recap sequence will return after these messages.
Hey, this is Jamie,
And this is Ryan.
and we're the recap sequence.
Be sure to tune in to us every Wednesday night on CHSR 97.9 FM or online at chsrfm.ca at 7 p.m. Atlantic, 6 p.m. Eastern.
And if you don't catch us live, you can catch our podcast on Spotify, on Amazon, anywhere you get your favorite podcasts. And we also have a YouTube channel you may have been watching. And if not, you should be. Catch us on YouTube at Recap Sequence.
And subscribe.
Subscribe. Yeah, please.
We now return to the recap sequence.
As far as like the tiers and the coming up with different types of incentives, do you find in your experience that can be a lot of work as well, coming up with extra things to sort of incentivize the process, I guess?
Yeah, it can be. Some of them can be really fun though. Like
Yeah.
on the Kickstarter for the first Glory Bound issue, we had a tier that was called Get Punched in the Face. So if people pledged at that tier, like you got your kind of like your likeness in the book, and you were literally getting punched in the face by a wrestler or something like
Right
that.
on.
So stuff like that is pretty fun. So, but yeah, like I don't know. I can understand how it gets hard when you're starting to offer like t-shirts and then you got to worry about sizes and printing and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. So yeah, like keeping them simple does make it easier, but I know sometimes you have to offer more things to incentivize people to buy at higher tiers.
Right. Yeah, I know for us, we had discussed starting a Patreon, but we have nothing to offer for like as like tiered services, other access to our archives. So yeah, that's kind of where our process stopped. I think it was what
We really didn't have anything to offer
yeah.
at
So
that
we
point.
we
We
just
really didn't want
Yeah.
to push in the face. So
I would
Yeah, there you go, right?
that'd be cool.
what, to punch me in the face?
No,
Okay.
to have my face punched in a book.
What are you
Go ahead,
kidding? Yes, that would be
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
That would be really cool. I'm curious, Brad, with like I'm looking at this here. Your art's incredible as in the first
thank
one,
you.
Hell Trap. It's such an easy read because I mean everything just jumps off. And the same thing for Nor'easter as well. I mean, did you have is it more fun for you to do something that's a short story as opposed to a full length?
Yeah, it can be. Because like putting like together like a 20-page book, like it's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the pressure is gone when you're like, okay, I got 6 pages. So yeah, you just go crazy and have fun, right? Like you don't have to worry about carrying that energy all the way through for another 14 pages.
Right.
And the schedule is a little bit easier as well too. Like there isn't as tight of a deadline because it's less pages that need to be drawn and colored. And actually, I didn't do the coloring for Hell Trap, but just
Emmy
drawing
Francis
it and
did that
everything.
one. Yeah.
Yes.
You did drawing and coloring for the Nor'eastern in
Yeah.
book 2.
Yeah.
So is that
And it kind of
consuming for you to have to?
what's that?
Is it more of a time consuming at that point to have to because now you're adding the color to it?
It does, like kind of the rough average for like a page, depending on backgrounds and stuff, is about like 8 to 10 hours.
Wow.
And then coloring is, depending on what your coloring style is almost half that amount of time. So like 4 to 5 hours to color as well too. So it does add a little bit more pressure, especially if the deadline's a little bit tighter. Like I know with Nor'easter, the deadline was less than a month.
Mm-hmm.
And I think on Hell Trap I had 3 months, so
Okay.
which was a really big window for 6 pages. But like, yeah, doing 6 pages in a month with color plus also working a 9 to 5 as well too. So
Right.
that's the thing that kind of really bogs down the process.
Do you find having too much time can work against you as well?
Oh, absolutely. Um,
I find that in life, but yeah.
yeah, because I work digitally, right? So like if I look at something for too long, I can constantly keep correcting and erasing and noodling away at it. And then sometimes it just gets to the point where you're like, okay, you just got to stop now. You just got to leave it the way that it is. So yeah, sometimes too much time is not a good thing.
You mentioned so at Holland College you were doing video game design as well.
Yep.
How do you find the two worlds mix for you? Do you have a preference in what you like doing?
Oh, I love comic books so
Yeah.
much more.
Okay.
Yeah. The video game industry is a different beast. Like there was a EA studio in Charlottetown that I was lucky enough to work at for a
Oh,
year,
wow.
and I worked on The Simpsons Tapped Out. But yeah, video games is a different beast. Like the timelines, like everything that you do as an artist, they're like, okay, well, you have 2 hours to do this.
Oh, wow.
Like, and it's just like, and it's got to be done. It's got to be crisp. It's got to be clean. And but like you got 2 hours. So the deadlines can be a little bit tough. So, but yeah, no, I definitely absolutely love comic books more. I think it's more of a storytelling aspect. Like
Mhm.
you're able to put your touch into the story, where video games, you're kind of like a cog in the machine to make the overall
Right.
game
Right.
work.
Did you enjoy the game, the Simpsons game?
Yeah, it was a good game, right? Like it was a city builder and stuff
Right.
like that. And when I was there, we had some fun events. Like I kind of came in just before they launched a superhero event, and it was all kind of based off of Alan Moore's Watchmen and stuff. Like
Oh,
that's the
cool.
colors and everything that we were
Yeah.
using. So I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. Like, so you get to do lots of fun stuff like that.
Are you still involved in any kind of video game design? Or are you solely focused on comics?
Solely focused on comics right now. Yeah,
Right.
like it was fun to do it, and I'm sure I could go back again and do it. But yeah, no, I enjoy the comic book side much more.
We can tell just chatting with you, there's a passion for you with you for comics, as opposed to the gaming industry. And I have talked to a lot of people who have in the gaming industry, and it's a cruel mistress, if you will, because it's
Oh
not. It's you
yeah,
know the end result is great. You had a hand in doing this, but to what was the end result of this? How burnt out were you at the end of it, right?
exactly. Yeah, and that's like video games. You always hear about crunch, right? Like
Yeah.
trying to get something done for a deadline. And luckily enough, like we never really experienced that. Like we had one instance where we had to pull a mini update like 3 weeks before, or no, not even 3 weeks, a week and a half before it was supposed to launch.
Sure.
Um, and then we had to make something completely new in a week and a half. So
Nothing like a time crunch.
Right.
no, yeah, no, nothing like a time crunch at all. So yeah,
So what kind of things are you working on now? Do you have any projects that are in the works or planned
yeah,
coming down the pipe?
That you're allowed to
uh,
tell us.
yeah. I'm working on two things of my own right now. So I'm trying to get Glory Bound 3 finished. Um, and that one's kind of just been it's a cruel mistress for me because I've always heard for your first comic book, like don't make it a big epic or anything like that. Do something small. And Glory Bound started out as six issue chapters, um, and then this
Nothing.
arc, like the first arc, it was 6 issues, and then we were like, okay, well, let's cut it down to four. And then I was like, kind of cut everything out, and I was like, oh, this is lean and mean, and I actually kind of like it a lot better. And then with everything that's kind of happened in my personal life and everything, and with Sandstone and everything, so I'm trying to get the third issue to be the final issue, but I'm having a really hard time. What do I cut to
Yeah.
kind
Right.
of and make it satisfying? Like
Right.
I could cut out a whole bunch of stuff and just have it be the end, and that's it. So um, I'm jumping through hoops trying to get it to mesh together the right way.
It's true what they say. You're your own worst enemy, aren't you?
Sometimes,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah,
Did
yeah.
did you have a predefined end for Glory Bound sorted out that you're now sort of having to change, or are you able to sort of
Uh,
finish it off the way you would originally intended, I guess?
like so it was gonna go through like a bunch of different arcs, but I have the ending figured out. It's just trying to get to the ending.
Right.
That's
Right.
kind of where I'm trying to get
Mhm.
everything to mesh together. But it is going to be a satisfying ending for the story. So yeah, that's just kind of the hard thing. Like they there's going to have to be a lot of exposition. So
Yeah.
I'm just trying to make sure that I'm not making it too wordy and make
Right.
sure that there's enough like art there as well too to tell the story because I got some really cool stuff drawn and I want to make sure that I can get that in there.
Right.
So yeah.
So I got a couple quick questions for you here, Brad. Your con schedule for next year, or are you doing anything between now and Christmas, or what's your con schedule for 26? Do you know?
So I've got nothing coming up for the rest of this year. Right now, I'm waiting to hear back from a couple of conventions.
Okay.
So AEX in Charlottetown, I'm waiting to
Hmm.
hear back from that one, and then I'm gonna apply for the St. John one as well too.
Oh, nice. Okay.
But other than that, that's all that I have right now because I don't think they've announced anything for
No.
ECC
Yeah.
No.
yet. So, but yeah, no, I'm looking to do the con circuit this summer. So
Nice.
Right on. Do you
yeah.
plan on attending any aside from as a guest? Like, do you like to hit the local maritime scene at all, or is it something that you have yet to explore? There's a bunch that
Uh,
you haven't been to. I know that.
Yeah.
yeah, I've really seen it like this summer for the first time. Like a lot of the other shows that kind of are popping up now. Like there seems to be a lot more conventions coming around.
Yeah.
Like there's just like a little one in Moncton this weekend, I think, as well too.
Yes, it's tomorrow at the Moncton University. Nick Bradshaw, Peter Bro,
Yeah,
Danica Bryan are all
Like,
part of it. Yeah.
they did that last year too, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's a yeah.
yeah. So there's a bunch like a bunch of little stuff like that popping up, which I think is really good because you're seeing that kind of love for the scene and
Hmm.
everything kind of finally starting to pop up and stuff. So
Yeah.
I know for a long time it was just HowCon, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that was kind of the one and only.
Yeah.
I'd love to get over to decaf. Like I've
Oh
heard great
yeah.
things about
Yes.
Yeah.
decaf.
Yeah.
Definitely worth a trip. When you so if someone comes up to you now at your table and says, how do I, or shows you their portfolio, what do you recommend, or what do you tell people? Like, how do I get in? How do you, if I want to get into this industry, what to do?
Yeah, like that's kind of the great thing about today is you can find like information everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Like it's readily available. Like I remember like as a teenager in the 90s, like that Wizard magazine, like that was all that I
Yeah.
had, right?
Yeah.
Like I you just poured through those pages and learned how to draw and there were tutorials and everything. And not knowing because this was pre-internet as well too, right? Like I was like, oh well, if I want to be a comic book artist, I have to move to New York, right? Because that's where DC and Marvel were,
Mhm.
and there were probably other studios there as well too. And then there was one thing where I saw John Byrne lives in Alberta, and I was like, wait, you can live in Canada and make comics as well too? And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
okay, I'm in. But it's like the same thing like they say about video games is the same thing as comic books. Like if that's what you want to do, you kind of just have to start doing it.
Mhm.
And if it's bad, like don't worry about that. Just keep practicing and keep doing it. Um, there's kind of like the more standard stuff, like draw from life,
Mm.
draw
Yeah.
backgrounds. 90% of artists are going to tell you they hate drawing backgrounds because
Yeah.
we just want to draw the characters, right?
Right.
They're the fun part. Um, but there's all that stuff, and I also say too, and this is kind of how I learned when I was like a young kid. And grab a comic book, grab tracing paper, and trace over top of the
Yeah.
comic book,
Mhm.
right? And probably until I was 16, that's all I like. I didn't trace, but I would draw like the covers, like those Joe Madureira covers. I had regular old printer paper, and I would just kind of copy those as best as I could. And then I think when I was 15 or 16, I was like, I don't want to copy stuff anymore. And that's when I just started drawing Wolverine and Batman and
Right.
Superman and Wonder
Yeah.
Woman. Like I just started drawing all that stuff on my own, right? But Yeah, like just do it. Do fan art. Like I think fan art is a great way for people to
Hmm.
start drawing. Like I know sometimes people look down on it, and it's like if you're just starting out and you're got a love and a passion for a fandom, yeah, do fan art for it. I still do fan art.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love like so we ask this question almost all the time, and I love the answer. Always seems to come back to you should just do it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
not be so focused on what the output's going to be, but that you're actually in the act of doing it and building your muscle memory and
yep,
learning how you like to do it. And it's funny because we do get like a variety of responses, but ultimately the focused message always comes down to just start
Just do
doing
it.
it.
Yeah.
You can't,
yep,
if you don't have a portfolio, make one.
Yeah.
yep,
Like you have to have something if you want to do something. So anyway, I love your answer. So
Last one here, Brad.
yep.
This is another one we like to ask because we're always curious about, the artists out there. Do you have a bucket list of any character that's out there in the world that you would love? And I say
Oh yeah.
because I'm not referencing. We did a ECC, and I found out James Bond was one of the characters that someone wanted to work on, actually,
Okay.
which was really cool. So,
That is a cool one.
do you have a
Yeah.
bucket list of? Is there someone out there that you'd love to get your hands on and
Oh
mash on?
yes. Yeah, I have a few. The Canadian in me wants to draw Wolverine at some point.
Yeah.
Um, so I would love to work on a Wolverine book. Obviously, Spider-Man.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Um, my big one for me would be Nightwing.
Oh wow.
Really,
Yeah, Nightwing's my favorite. Has been my favorite character since I was 15 years old. So he's
Really?
he's
That's
the
cool.
the like even if I got to draw him in like a Teen Titans or a Titans book
yeah,
or not necessarily his own title, but yeah, Nightwing would be my Mount Rushmore for characters to draw.
very cool.
That's the first time we've heard the Nightwing.
Now, are you interested at all in the comic book movies? We get a variety of responses on this too. I say this when you mention Nightwing because I know the DC universe is kind of been relaunched and is building, and
Hmm.
Nightwing is going to be part of this. So, as a favorite character, is that something that you would love to see on the screen?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, good.
I've those videos that I've seen where they're like Nightwing is that uncastable character.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I would like to see him done justice properly in live
Mhm.
action. Like Chris O'Donnell was pretty good in Batman and Robin.
Yeah,
And then Brenton Thwaites in the Titans TV
Yeah.
show. Like I know they were going for a different vibe. So
yes,
that
very,
really
very
wasn't
good.
like mainstream Nightwing that we're used to.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I would love to see that 100%. And in James Gunn's new DCU, I think his type of character is perfect for that setting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. That's really cool.
Well, listen, Brad, this was a great chat. I really
Yeah.
appreciate you joining us
Yeah, it was. Thanks for having me,
on an
guys.
evening, a rainy Thursday night here. I don't know what the weather's like in Summerside, but
Oh yes, doing the same thing.
fair enough. In cloud cover.
Yeah,
Well, this is great. We're looking forward to. Hopefully, we'll cross paths
Yep.
in 2026. But
sounds good.
reach out if you've got anything exciting
Yeah. Keep us
that's going
posted,
on. We'd love to talk to you again.
especially if you got Glory Bound 3 done there and you want to talk about it. Let us know. We'd love to have you back on.
All right, sounds awesome, guys.
Cool.
Awesome. Thanks again, Brad.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank
Have a
Have a
you.
great
great
night.
night. Take care.